Good morning and welcome to Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver. We have a lot to discuss this morning. We're going to start with some WWE stuff and kind of work our way out of it, hopefully, if we can get there. But let's start with Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. So we know Jey is still there. We know that Jimmy has not been on TV in quite some time. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on there. And we're going to speculate a little bit, but we have a lot of things that have happened here recently that we've got to look at and see. So, according to WrestlingIncorporated.com, you can find it right there on their main page about WWE Rikishi wanting to stay up, asking for everybody to stay prayed for his son Jimmy. It's done by Nick Miller. It was done September 18th, 2024, 3:48 p.m. So that's where the article is at, where we've read and where we've gone through. But we've got to speculate about what's going on. Now, we all know that there's a television show on Vice called Dark Side of the Ring, and you can see what happens in the breakdown and the lives after those that have been inside the ring and those that have been everywhere. And we can only hope and pray for him that he's not going through any of that stuff. Now, we know that he's trying to make a comeback. He's trying to get back to where he was and trying to get back to where he needs to be inside the ring, doing the things that he needs to do. But unfortunately, right now, that is not happening. So we've got to wonder if at any point he's going to be able to make his return. Now, we know that Jey and Jimmy Uso, as well as Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns, were in the Bloodline family, and that whole storyline that went along with the Bloodline and everything that had to do with that. But this afternoon, Rikishi put that out there saying, pray for his son. It's kind of got some concerns going on in the world of wrestling, in the community of wrestling, and everything that's going on with wrestling directly. So you kind of have to wonder in the back of your mind if something is happening behind the scenes and beside the scenes. Now, we know that the Uso brothers have had problems in the past. We know that they've had substance abuse problems as far as alcohol goes, and they've been arrested. Some of them have been arrested. Let's say it like that. I don't want to be throwing my foot in my mouth here, but some things have happened outside of the ring that have caused some problems in their life. So you've got to be wondering what is going to be taking place and what's going to be going on as it comes forward and as the news comes forward and moves through that. So Jimmy and Jey both, are great performers inside the ring. They both seem to have it together. They've got all the skills, of course, coming from that family that they're from, the Noah family. They've just definitely taken over the wrestling world and taken it by storm, and they've done a great job holding it up for over 10 years, over 10, 12, 14 years, about 14 years total time. They've done a great job with moving and progressing WWE forward. But you have to wonder, is it getting to the point now that the wear and tear is hurting them more and more every day? And can they come back and be like they once were before in wrestling? That's one of the main things that you've got to ask yourself and ask everybody else when you're going through something like this. When they start having problems, when you start going through issues, is it something that you can overcome? Is it something that you want to overcome? Is it something that you want to better yourself on? And I'm not saying that they don't. I'm not saying that he doesn't. I'm just saying that we got to be concerned a little bit with the news that was going on and what was said. Now, we're all speculating here, so this is speculation and opinion. I have no idea what's going on in his personal life. I have no idea what's going on beyond the world of wrestling. We know that he's trying to get back into wrestling, and he's trying to get back on that level and stay on that level. However, we know what his dad said, and the article, as I showed you, which is right here, guys, right there on WrestlingIncorporated.com, and it was done by Nick Miller. As you see, Nick Miller, September 18th, right here at the bottom. So he just wrote this, and he's referring to the cryptic post on Twitter or on X that was coming from Rikishi, his father, as you see right there. So, but you can read the entire article right there at WrestlingIncorporated.com. You can get all of the news and everything for that right there. So you just have to wonder what's going on, why they want us to stay prayed up for him, why why he's asking the world to stay in contact. Now, I know that the road to recovery in some cases is going to be harder on some people than others. Triple H, whenever he tore his quad, his road to recovery back to the ring, he fought like hell to do it, and he did it in record time on an injury that was a career-ending injury at the time. So you have to kind of take all that into perspective on everything that was going on there. So we're going to move on just a little bit now. We're going to talk about what happened inside the ring. CM Punk announced that he will be the special guest referee between Ethan Page and Trick Williams coming up for NXT. There's a lot of stuff to unpack there. So first of all, can Punk be trusted? Do you think that CM Punk can be trusted to be that special guest referee and be non-biased inside the ring towards either party? Number two, do you think it's more of a passing of the torch from CM Punk to one of the younger guys so that he can finally make his money and move on, or move on to another company, which I don't know if he can move on to another company. He's kind of shot himself in the foot, kicked himself up over the stuff that was going on. And in recent days, we've learned about the be nice clause that's in his contract. So he has to be on his best behavior in order to keep his job. So you kind of have to wonder if this is more of a passing of the torch to the next generation of WWE superstars that's going to be going on in this match, or if it's going to be one of those Mike Tyson, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk kind of referee matches that's going to be taking place directly out of it. Now, you got to remember that Ethan Page slammed Trick Williams through a table, and he's caused a lot of controversy to be heading into this match. So does he have Punk in his side? Is Punk on Ethan Page's side, or is he on Trick Williams' side, or will he be non-biased? That is the question that everybody is wanting to know. So you have to figure that out as we're going forward now that we've gone on. So we know that that's taken away. We gotta talk about the United States champion a little bit. We have to get into that, man. We have to get directly in, my goodness, to none other than LA Knight. LA Knight has been on fire the last couple months. The feud that he had with AJ Styles was awesome. The feud that he had going on with Logan Paul was great. But you got to realize that he's got to be willing to take on all comers. And I don't know if he's got it in him to do that. I mean, he talks a good game. He acts like he wants to do it, but is he really going to be getting to the bowels of it? I mean, the Bloodline engaging in a must-see verbal and physical battles with the likes of The Miz and Bray Wyatt, Ricochet, Logan Paul, and most recently Roman Reigns, all the while he looks to conquer the blue brand. With him trying to conquer that blue brand, is he actually going to be able to do it? And if so, if he does conquer the blue brand, is he going to be able to conquer it by being a fighting champion? That's yet to be seen. So we've got to know if LA Knight is going to come out there, and some of you are going to hate me for this. Some of you are going to hate me for this. And this is not a hit to you, LA Knight. It's not a hit to you at all. I don't want you to think it is. I just want to know if you're going to be putting that title on the line as it needs to be each and every week, or if you're going to be more holding it back. I mean, it's yet to be seen. I mean, you've fought a couple times, but are you putting the title on the line? Are you waiting on the big events to put the title on the line? Are you scared of anybody? So I'm going to get a lot of heat for that. That's a hot take right there. Really hot take right there. But you got to wonder, man. You got to wonder about what's going to be happening in the world of wrestling. Of course, WWE is branching out once again. They're going to be going into the new show. Well, it's an old show. It's a Saturday main event show, but I can't remember when it's starting. I want to say it's in December is when it's going to be starting. Let me head over to WWE.com and I'll find that real quick. And we'll start talking about that as the day goes on, as we can find it. I know it's going to be on the main event page. I just don't know exactly where it's at. It'll take me just a minute to find it. But I know that they're going to be starting that. Let's find exactly when they're going to be starting at SmackDown, NXT, Saturday Night Main Event. It's going to be starting Saturday, December 14th at 8/7 Central Time on NBC. So they're moving back to NBC to get some better promotion time. Now, we all know the contract that they signed with Netflix. We haven't seen that come to fruition yet. I mean, they're still going to be doing the Saturday, October 5th event at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Peacock. So you gotta be wondering what's going to be going on in the transition. Of course, Raw moving on USA Mondays 8-7 Central. That's still going to be there. Fridays on SmackDown on USA as well. SmackDown moving back to USA. I think that's a good move for them to be pushing those shows back on the original networks that they're coming from. NXT is Tuesdays 8-7 Central on USA Network. So, I mean, we're pushing into the primetime portion of it. And then Level Up for NXT is going to be Fridays at 9-10 Central on Peacock as well. You can watch on demand the Bash in Berlin as well. It's on demand. No Mercy is on demand. WWE Speed is going to be Wednesdays, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on X or Twitter. And they've got so much for the premium events that's going to be coming forward as well. You got to wonder about the contract that they've signed with Netflix and how it's going to be impacting them starting at the beginning of the year, and how Peacock is going to be responding to losing one of their biggest shows and events of all time. And then you've also got to be wondering if the move is going to be hurting USA and what time slot that it's going to be hurting them in. What are they going to be putting in their spot once it goes through? Now, everything that I'm talking about is public news, public relations. The deal is done with Netflix. It's been signed. So it's just a matter of if they're going to allow the brand to go back. And Netflix actually, by bringing the WWE back and bringing the library back and moving it away from Peacock, is actually doing a couple things in their favor. Number one, they're going to bring subscribers just for the WWE stuff. And whenever we were growing up, when Netflix was in its infancy, whenever there was Blockbuster Video still around, that's telling your age right there, guys. But whenever there was Blockbuster Video still around and Netflix was out there trying to get a hold of the world, that was one of the things that drew people to it. Was they originally had all the WWE content from the library that was over there. And then as they did copyright infringements and copyright strikes, they were able to take that down. And as the money deals fell through, Netflix had to lose that deal. So for them to come back to Netflix, it's going to be a heck of a deal for them in WWE directly. Now, we know that they've got a lot of shows that are planned here in the future that are going to be coming up. Of course, the Saturday Night Slam on December 14th in Uniondale, New York is going to be taking place. Saturday, November 30th in Vancouver, British Columbia, the Survivor of the War Games is going to be taking place. SmackDown, Friday, September 20th in Sacramento, California is going to be taking place. Monday, September 23rd in Ontario, California. They've got shows taking place right there. And then Friday, September 27th in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They've got some shows taking place for SmackDown right there as well. Along with the Super Show that's going to be taking place on the 28th in Columbus, Georgia. Also the Super Show on Sunday, September 29th in Huntsville, Alabama. So both Super Shows back to back, followed by Monday Night Raw in Evansville, Indiana on September 30th, and Tuesday, October 1st back in Chicago, Illinois. So they have a lot of shows that are going to be scheduled all the way through. I mean, all the way through November, April, November of next year. They have a lot of stuff already put out. Now, they haven't listed all their cards for everything that's out. They don't know. Of course, it's card subject to change. So there's people on each card every night that happens with everything. Each independent promotion has stuff that's going on with them. And so you have to be wondering what's going on. So let's talk about the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther there for a while. So everybody saw the interaction that he had with Bret Hart, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. The best technician in the ring who could make a sack of potatoes look like it was the best thing ever that he was facing. And Gunther just kind of really put it out there for him. Gunther, whatever you want to call him. He really put it out there for him, man. He had some harsh words for Bret Hart, trying to tell him that he was the second best wrestler, with Goldberg being his first, trying to get under his skin because he knows how the Goldberg stuff goes. But Bret Hart was calm, cool, and collective like he always is. Let it slide. And, the truth of it is Bret Hart may be past his prime now. But if push come to shove, he could definitely make Gunther tap out. I said what I said, baby. You can call it here on the Arabbidb3aver channel. I am definitely going to tell you to your face. I think he can make him tap out. I really do. Now, and that's not a hit to him. It's just whenever you're putting in perspective the line of who's who and who's done what. Now, we all know the issues with Bret Hart's neck. We all know the issues with Bret Hart, period. But you got to wonder if that desire is still there, if that devotion is still there, if he still is training as hard as he once was, or if he's just given it up. But it never leaves you. It's like riding a bike. Once you get your bike, once you stop falling down, once you get the training wheels off and you know what you're doing, you always know what you're doing. You will never forget how to ride a bike. You'll never lose your balance. You might not be the same person. You might not have the same win that you once had. You might not be as strong as you once was, but you're mentally as sound as you've ever been. And it will never go away from you. So that's why I said what I said. That's the hot take I've got today for Bret Hart. I mean, there's lots of stuff, man. There's lots of people that we could talk about here directly from it. Cody Rhodes is another one. So we've seen Cody Rhodes here recently just do some phenomenal things from the 6-man tag team championships, all the way to the American Nightmare returning at WrestleMania 38. He's just done some amazing things. Rhodes became just the fourth superstar ever to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles and conquering the field in 23 and 24. I mean, coming back into the industry, beating Seth Rollins was huge for him to get over that hump, to be the man and to push himself back there. So you've got to see that he's pushed himself in the likes of the fans and in the intensity of the fans. But here's the thing that you've got to see is, who does he have that can really get under his skin and really be that heel that Roman Reigns was? Is there anybody else that can start that feud and start that fire and get him as hot and make him have that desire again? I think it's kind of got lackluster with him. I think that the numbers have proved that it's gotten lackluster with him. As far as their television rating, it's dropped a little bit. But however, you got to see that they've pushed other rivalries before them. The McIntyre rivalry with Punk, for example, that's just one. You got to see that Bron Breaker has started his whole rise and jumped up. They pushed the LA Knight scene a little bit harder. The Logan Paul LA Knight and the LA Knight and I can see his face. Lord, I just lost him. I was talking about him just a few minutes ago. It's early morning, guys. Please forgive me. AJ Styles is who I was talking about. I'm so sorry. But they pushed other rivalries into the forefront for WWE, and it's kind of made Cody Rhodes kind of take a back seat a little bit and kind of ride it out a little bit. And I know that coming from where he's been and who his dad was and who his brother is and how the industry has changed who he is specifically. But good Lord, guys, they've got to find a way to keep him relevant. If they don't keep him relevant, it's not going to work. And see, I think that's one of the reasons why Roman has tried to make his return so hard, because he's got something to prove now, especially after having to drop that strap to Cody Rhodes. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens in the days to come and what money will be brought and what the viewership is going to be like for WWE in the days to come. So you have to wonder, the battles that took place in the steel cage with Solo Sikoa, those matches from September 13th, that was a great match that took place there. Cody had something to prove against the Bloodline once again. You got to see that Cody Rhodes agreed to join forces at Bad Blood as well. That was something else that has yet to be seen. It was yet to be seen to that point because of everything that had took place between the family and him and his family. So you got to wonder, the tribal chief, if everything is moving forward and progressing the way that that he wants it to go. And if WWE is just pushing these storylines so that they can make a unholy alliance, I guess you could say, because that is definitely going to be one of the things that's going to be happening in the days to come. Now, we talked a little bit about Bron Breaker, the Intercontinental Championship, a little bit earlier. We kind of mentioned his name as he's been on the rise with some of the stuff that's going on. But I think that he needs to have that rivalry. And this is kind of where it kind of comes weird for me with WWE, because I really believe, going back to the LA Knight thing and Bron Breaker, I think that Bron Breaker needs to challenge LA Knight. I think it needs to happen. I think it needs to be a champion versus champion match. That's my personal opinion going forward. It doesn't mean anything. They're not going to listen to me. They don't care. I'm just a little peon out here in the middle of the world just broadcasting, but I really honestly believe that they need to have a champion versus champion match, and it needs to be for the titles. Winner takes all. The United States champion, the Intercontinental Championship, and they put it on the line like that. One of the reasons I think that needs to happen is because there is still some unfinished business between Bron Breaker and LA Knight that the fans did not get to see come to an end. And I believe that the storyline that needs to be told is that, especially coming from the pinning the championship contender LA Knight in his debut match, and putting the locker room on notice. I mean, he put the entire locker room on notice by pinning LA Knight and doing that. So there's a lot of unfinished business there that needs to be taking place for WWE. All right, with that being said, those are my thoughts. That's what's happening in the WWE currently, and that is our show for today. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming on and being with us and being here and joining us in. And before we go, I've got to tell you, if you like this show, you like the way it sounds, you like everything, and you're interested in getting into podcasting or getting into streaming, and you're looking for a microphone, you're looking for anything, why don't you give my friend AJ3aver a call today at Sweetwater? You can hit him up at 800-222-4700, extension 1325. Scan that QR code that you got on your screen right there and go ahead and give him a call and tell him that you're interested in the same mic that the Arabbidb3aver, aka Joseph Hughes, has, and he'll know exactly what you're talking about. Scan that code, it'll get you everything. Talk to AJ3aver, he'll get you set up, he'll get you hooked up directly right there. If you guys are looking for a camera for your podcasting, we've got you covered here too. We're partners with Temu. All you have to do is go in and scan that code that's right there, and then under the code, then you enter, it's TAW00320. 00320 will get you your percentage off at Temu as well. And then also, this show is brought to you 100% by viewers like you. So go ahead and scan that code, and if you feel like it, hit a donation to us today. We have two different places you can do that, of course, on Streamlabs, also on Stream Elements. Go ahead and hit that, and thank you guys. And if you guys want any Wrestle Talk merch, or Arabbidb3aver merch, Camel Toe Adventures merch, or any other merch that we've got available, we've got you covered here too on Streamlabs, our Streamlabs store. That's www.streamlabs.com/Arabbidb3aver/merch. Go ahead and hit that up, or you can donate directly at www.streamlabs.com/Arabbidb3aver/home is how you can get that. So with everything being said right there, thank you guys so much for being here. And remember to hit that like, hit that follow, hit that subscribe, and follow us on all our social medias. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, wherever you guys are at. And we'll see you right back here on Wrestle Talk with Arabbidb3aver in the future. Thank you guys.